I want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone and also to call the City Development and Planning Committee meeting to order. I just want to remind everyone that this is a formal council committee meeting. We are having the presentation up here. We will then go back down to room 110 and continue deliberations on council business. This is not an avenue for public input. That's going to take place over at the county office building tonight at 7 o'clock. So I just wanted to remind everyone with that. Okay, and at this point I'm going to turn the program over to Dave Bucco for the presentation about our possible casino.
Great, thank you very much, Peggy. I guess we all wouldn't have fit into room 110 very comfortably, would we? What a great evening, have a great turnout. And we're very excited to be here today. Those of you that weren't at Proctor's, the GE Theater, about a week ago when we announced our partnership, we're going to cover some of the things we talked about that day and be able to give you more details on the specifics of our project. First of all, I want to thank all of you and want to really bring up one of the more exciting visions for Schenectady. Here with me tonight are Francesco Gillespie, chairman of the Gillespie Group. Greg Carlin, chief executive officer of Rush Street Gaming. You don't have to clap for all these people. My guess is a few of you may want to throw things at them. David Patton, President and Chief Operating Officer of Rush Street Gaming. Lee Whitaker, Vice President of Communications at Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. And we're also pleased to join other members of the team, Scott Struzner, Judy Gold, and Jack Horner of Rush Street Gaming. So thank you very much, Rush Street, for coming in and sending the SWAT team. Tonight we're going to be giving you a detailed presentations of the Rivers Casino and Resort in Mohawk Harbor. Great name. It's an opportunity I believe will be an important economic development driver in Schenectady for years to come, and for the region, not just Schenectady. Those of us here have dedicated ourselves to Schenectady's revitalization. Just go look at State Street. It's more than fair to say we are amidst of a renaissance right now, thanks to the hard work and dedication of our elected officials, business leaders, but most importantly, our citizenry. I'd like to just ask Francesco Gillespie to say a brief few words about the history of the Gillespie Group with the City and County of Schenectady and the future commitment to Schenectady, and then I'll start the program. Francesco, you weren't expecting that.
Good evening. Well, I don't know what to say. I've been here for about 40 years. We first took over the two large government facilities and added to that, that was about 5 million square feet. And they were absolutely vacant. And then we have another one, which we started about 20 years ago. We were able to fill that space 100%. And the companies that joined us hired thousands of people. So besides the things that David has been doing in the past 20 years here in Schenectady, we've had a very good run. And we will continue. And that's all I'm going to say.
Hopefully continue means continuing the capital investment in our community. We can all admit that the glow of the electric city is dim for a bit. All of us have participated in this comeback story, and it is a comeback story. Tonight we take a closer look at what the next chapter brings us. Central to our future success is the dedication to redevelop the city's waterfront. It's something the Gillespie Group has made central to our business efforts, and it's something that nobody else in our community has done. We are going to take over the waterfront and do it the right way. A giant piece of the puzzle involves Mohawk Harbor. It's a great name. And now the recently announced partnership between the Gillespie Group and Rush Street Gaming to site a casino there, the Rivers Casino and Resort at Mohawk Harbor. There are a number of people in this room that weren't around the last time an engine rolled out of Elko in 1969. Marked a period of dismal time for this property, this waterfront, almost a mile of waterfront. I think some bad pictures are up there about Elko. So, needless to say, it was a challenge, but Mr. Gillespie and myself and our team, and we've got a very dedicated group of Gillespie people that looked at this and said this is an opportunity. A challenge, but an opportunity. The good news is we've already committed to this project. We've committed to this development. Competitors building in suburban locations with no approvals, we have a considerable head start. We've done significant amount of work on brownfield remediation. We are a full employment act for every engineer, I think, in town. Worked very well with the city and Carl Olson and his team to determine what infrastructure is needed. Demo's been done. Seeker's been done and will be continued to be updated. This is the only urban site for siting a casino in the capital region that we're aware of as of right now. Mohawk Harbor is a project we've been working on for 4 years now. Time flies. In short, it's a $150 million riverfront development that is going to turn this brownfield site into a first-class mixed-use development with office, apartments, condos, hotels, restaurants, retail and commercial space. Our harbor will be a destination for the many boaters. I guess Commissioner Stratton indicated there's 40,000 boaters that pass by this site. I'll take him at his word. We want to complement the tourism that the Canal Corporation has invested, and we want to make sure that we can attract those people to come to Schenectady. The proximity to I-90, 890, Route 50, Glenridge Road, and a newly rebuilt, I hope, Rexford Bridge makes this site easily accessible. So we have the ability to work and complement the upgrades that were done with Erie Boulevard and continue that initiative well beyond its first and second phases all the way up to the Mohawk Harbor site. Site is less than a quarter mile away from the new train station that's going to be happening. Amtrak is investing over $15 million for a new train station, as well as upgrading the tracks between Schenectady and Albany. It's a significant upgrade that's relative to our projects. We can say visitors to our project will be able to come by road, rail, boat, and even walk. When New York State voters approved the amendment to allow gambling, a number of major gaming companies and their representatives contacted our company. We talked to everybody that put in an application into our region, and then some in the southern tier, as well as into Catskills. Rush Street Gaming was a company we felt was right for Schenectady. We turned down better offers. Rush Street was founded by Neil Bloom and Greg Carlin, who you'll hear from tonight. Neil was in town the other day when we announced it at Proctor's, and we'll see, I'm sure, a lot of them. He has a remarkable story. Suffice to say, he rose from quite modest means to become one of the most successful real estate developers in the country. He's been involved with more than $50 billion, that's with a B, worth of developments and acquisitions, including Faneuil Hall, Copley Place, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, MGM Towers, Century City, to name a few. But what I learned about Neil, and by extension about Rush Street, was they're a company about character. When I first met Neil and Greg out at their facility in Des Plaines outside of Chicago, I knew right away we can do business on a handshake. I recently had the opportunity to visit the Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh during a graduation trip for my son. Totally impressed. First of all, the manager was from upstate New York in Sylvan Beach, which is right where I grew up outside of Rome, New York. But the property's first class. The design, the atmosphere, the quality of the staff and amenities. But the fact is they opened up the river. They're right on the river. They took advantage. They're getting the community to embrace the river and take a portion of the community that was basically run down, and the community is totally engaged in having a lot of community events right there on the river. That's really why I'm excited to work with Rush. Our companies have the same value, but the same mantra, to do it right. And we are going to do this project right. So now I'd like to hand things over to Greg Carlin, the CEO, who will tell you a little bit more about Rush Street and their type of business. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and I want to thank all of you, members of council and from the Schenectady citizens, for giving us the opportunity to tell you about our company and to tell you about our plans for Schenectady. My name is Greg Carlin. I am the CEO of Rush Street Gaming and co-founder. I went to work for Neil about 19 years ago, and it was basically me and a bookkeeper in his family office, and I'll never forget, before I started working for him, he said to me, I'm not really sure what you're going to be doing, but we've always done well around here, hiring smart young kids, and you'll figure it out. So here we are 19 years later, and we've built a nice gaming business, and I'm going to talk about that today and introduce some of my colleagues. Rush Street currently operates 3 properties. We have the Rivers Casino and Des Plaines, which opened in 2011. The Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia, which opened in 2010. The Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh, which opened in 2009. And we also we're involved in a company that manages the Fallsview Resort, which is in Niagara Falls, Canada, in Ontario. And Neil and I are on the board of that company, and I'm on the executive committee of that company. All 4 of our casino properties have the reputation of being world-class gaming facilities that exceed expectations of our visitors, our team members, and the communities where they operate. I'm proud to say that we set very high standards, and we work hard to exceed those standards. Our priorities are providing guests with a great customer experience, our employees with a great work environment, and we also strive to be excellent corporate citizens in the communities we operate. In short, we're committed to building the highest quality casinos that we can that fit into the communities they're located. That means that all of our properties are unique in their own right, but the binding tie is that they've all been successful. In Philadelphia, for example, we were the first casino to be financed after the Great Recession. It was a very difficult financing environment, but we stepped up, put in more equity in order to get that deal done. There were 2 licenses awarded in Philadelphia, us and another group. The other group never actually got their casino built, and the company went bankrupt, and that license in Philadelphia still isn't operating. But Neil stepped up and put in more equity when it was needed because of the crisis, and made sure that the property opened and has been successful. Similar in Pittsburgh, we actually stepped into that project when the original applicant who was awarded the license could not deliver on his promises. As the market was going into recession, he was unable to raise the financing to build the project, and we stepped in and took the project over from him, and were able to build it on time, on budget, and deliver on all the promises that he had made to the city of Pittsburgh. Our casinos continually receive accolades. Rivers Casino in Des Plaines was named a Chicago Top 20 workplace its very first year in business. And I'm very proud of that, because if you looked at the list of other companies on that list, every one of them had been around for more than 15 years. We were the only company on that list that was its first year in business, and we actually received that award our second year in business, and hopefully we'll receive it this year, our 3rd year in business. The Fallsview Resort in Niagara Falls has been named Ontario's best casino for 6 years in a row by the Toronto Sun Readers Poll, and we're very proud of that fact. Let's see here, the next slide. When voters approved casino gaming expansion in New York City, Neil and I were very excited about the prospects to do business in New York. And we came up to the capital region, and we looked around at lots of different sites in the region. And when we met with Dave and we came to Schenectady, and we walked through downtown Schenectady and spent time at Proctor's, and we went down to the site, we knew this was the best site for a casino in this region. We love the riverfront site, and it's actually very similar to our project in Pittsburgh, which is also on the river and was a former industrial site, and our project in Philadelphia, which is on the river and was a former industrial site. In both those cases, we've been able to redevelop, what was a former industrial factory, or in the case of Philadelphia, it was a sugar refinery, and they had closed their doors, a decade before we came in. And we rebuilt the riverfront. We opened up access to the water with pathways, and you can, lots of folks in the neighborhood in Philly and in Pittsburgh use the paths in front of the casino, and we're really proud of that fact. And we're looking forward to doing the same thing right here in Schenectady. Tell you a little bit about the project. The current budget is estimated to be about $300 million. And if you couple that with Gillespie's investment in the harbor and retail and condos of $150 million, you're looking at a total budget for this site of $450 million. The design will be contemporary design, and we will incorporate natural light in the facility. All our casinos have natural light. It's not like the old days, because casino design has evolved from the old days when people say you want a closed box with no lights and no clocks, and that's not really true anymore. And today's casino design is much more contemporary, incorporating the exterior elements and being open to the outside as opposed to closed to the outside. The casino itself will be about 50,000 square feet of gaming. We'll have a poker room. There's going to be about 1,150 slot machines, 66 table games, and the total project will also include 2 hotels, one on site at the casino and then one on the Mohawk property, totaling about 275 rooms. But this really isn't just about the gaming. The Rivers Casino and Resort Mohawk Harbor will be a unique regional entertainment destination. Full range of dining options, including a state-of-the-art banquet facility with great outdoor patio space. And as Dave mentioned, we're going to really leverage the harbor and all it has to offer by really creating riverfront green space and bike and walking paths, and that's one of the exciting features of the project. Also, our company is committed to green sustainability practices. New York State is actually the second state to require that casinos attain LEED certification. Our company, Rush Street Gaming, is actually the first casino company in the world to build a LEED certified gold casino, which we did in Des Plaines. So we're very much looking forward to fulfilling that requirement here in New York State. Next, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, David Patton. He's the President and Chief Operating Officer of Rush Street Gaming, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about our company and our operating practices. David.
Thanks, Greg. I want to thank the City Council and everybody who has come tonight. Brief little bit of background. I've been with Greg and Neil for 5 years now. Joined the company just before the Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh opened, and it's been a terrific run watching and helping to operate the casinos that we've managed, and we're extremely excited about the prospects for Schenectady. I want to talk to you about 4 things tonight: integrity, public safety, jobs, and then some high-level economics. We take our commitments very seriously, and one of the items that I want to highlight for you tonight is our commitment as far as responsible gaming goes. Every new hire who comes to any of our properties goes through an extensive responsible gaming training, and then they get refreshed on that every year. We have very rigorous policies to make sure that customers who don't wish to gamble anymore have the ability to self-exclude. We train our team members on how to spot signs of problem gambling. They're trained to be proactive as well. We have 800 numbers that are posted throughout the property, as well as in most of our advertisements. So we take that very seriously. We also allow folks to self-restrict. Things like check cashing, or if they don't want to receive promotional items or anything like that, we make sure our customers fully understand what their options are. And with the statute that was passed in New York, there's a $500, basically a tax on each slot machine that's going to go to fund problem gaming initiatives. When it comes to public safety, we partner very closely with the local police departments in each of the cities that we operate. And what we found is that crime has not materialized as an issue in the areas that we operate, and in many cases crime rates have actually gone down. We have received a lot of praise from the local police departments, and we make sure that we have a great working relationship with them and that they can assist us and are very proactive with us as well to make sure that those issues are being managed. And if you were to speak to the police chiefs in all the cities that we operate. They'll tell you pretty much the same story, that they have a great relationship with our casinos, and that crime really is not an issue. And we've been very, very gratified to see how those have played out over the years that we've been operating our properties. Now, some really good news I want to talk about is the jobs that will come with the casino. To build the casino, we anticipate there'll be hundreds of construction jobs, and then upon opening, approximately 1,200 permanent jobs. It would be very hard for me to think of a place that couldn't use a few more jobs, and so I think that would be very welcome here. And the kind of jobs that we have are actually extremely good jobs. If you look at the compensation numbers for the properties that we operate, and this is for, it says non-management compensation, I would take that one step further. This is the hourly team members, okay? They're not supervisors, they're not managers, they're not the general managers. These are just people who are on an hourly wage. This is the numbers for their compensation to each of the properties. So an average salary of about $50,000, and median, so if you take the person that's in the middle, it's still over $40,000. So we believe that we provide very good jobs for folks. And it's not just the jobs that they work in, but we like to make sure that we're providing opportunities for real careers for people. So before we open, first of all, we make sure that we try to hire from the local community wherever possible, and our numbers are very high in terms of hiring from the local areas that we operate. We also provide some pre-opening training. We conduct job fairs with the local Chamber of Commerce. We'll be partnering with Schenectady County Community College here for both job placement and training. And I look back to see how many people actually applied for jobs at the properties, the 3 properties that we're operating, and I found that we had 110,000 people apply for jobs at our 3 properties for approximately 4,000 to 5,000 jobs. So we know that there's going to be tremendous interest. It allows us to pick to the very best applicants, and we're very excited about gearing that up. Once somebody is in the workforce, we provide ongoing career development, education. We have tuition reimbursement and other methods for them to advance their careers. If they graduate to a supervisor level, we provide training for that. If they graduate to a manager level, we have leadership training for that as well. And we went back to look to see how many people have been promoted at our casinos. And we've had over 2,000 people be promoted since the casinos opened. And just in the last year, we've had over 430 team members get promoted to the next level. So we love to promote from within. We love to try to develop people, make sure that, that we're promoting the folks that are already with us. All right, taxes. There's benefits for everybody, and one of the benefits for the local communities are the taxes associated with the opening of the casino. And this is per the statute. The host municipality receives 5% of gaming taxes and fees, plus attendant real estate taxes to the city and school district. The host county also gets a similar numbers, 5% of gaming taxes and fees, real estate taxes, and then also sales and hotel occupancy taxes. And then there's some non-host community counties that receive a total of 10% of the gaming taxes and fees. Now, the state has made some estimates as to what that's going to amount to, and you can see those on this slide. That's coming from the New York State Division of Budget. And then lastly, tourism we think is going to be a big plus. We estimate that there'll be close to 3 million projected new visitors to the region. So we think it enhances Schenectady's reputation as an entertainment destination. Also, if you look at Proctor's, which generates 650,000 visitors, we think the additional 2.8 million helps complement that a lot. And we'll also provide a boost to heritage tourism. Just all these new people coming to the region who haven't been here before, they're going to want to take advantage of the many attributes, the many positive things that are in the city, the other businesses. Then we've seen actually in the other cities that we've been operating that their businesses are enhanced because you get people coming in. They don't just go to the casino; they eat at the restaurants, they go to shows, and we found that it provides an overall boost to the city outside of the economic benefits of the jobs and the taxes. So, very excited about that. I'd like to now introduce Lee Whitaker, who's going to talk about some more of our commitments.
I hope you can see me. I'm not very tall. Sorry. Good evening. Thanks for having us. I'm very excited to be here. Drove up this morning from Philadelphia with Jack, who was drinking coffee and eating yogurt and making me a little nervous, but we made it. My name is Lee Whitaker. I'm the Vice President of Communications at Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. I have been with the Rush Street team now almost 7 years, so a really great place to work. Greg was the first person I met when I was sort of interviewing, I'll say, and I've loved it ever since. I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about working at one of the properties and how we interact with the community. I can't see the screen because, as you know, I'm not tall, but I do my best to stay with you. I know that one of the things you're most concerned about is how this casino might impact the community. It was a huge concern in Philadelphia also. Casinos were new to Philadelphia. Even though Atlantic City was 50 miles down the road, there was no casino in the immediate area. And so Philadelphians were a little skeptical about what a casino meant for their neighborhood. We are committed to being part of the community. In Philadelphia, I always say that what's good for Philadelphia is good for us, and we believe that. And so when we go into a community, we get to know that. We get to know the neighborhood, we get to know the community, we get to know the community groups. We volunteer, we contribute to organizations. We work to make a positive impact. We're part of that community, like our employees, our building is there, our employers are there. And so like so many other local businesses in and around our places, we support, we care, and we give back. And we commit to you that we will always be a good corporate citizen and a good neighbor. I want to tell you a little story about me. So I don't have a gaming background. In Philadelphia, I worked for Philadelphia City Council, and then I went and worked for the school district of Philadelphia. And so, like some of you in the room, I was a little bit skeptical also about what a casino sort of meant for Philadelphia. So as I was interviewing, like I mentioned, I met Greg, and one of the first things Greg talked about was wanting to get to know our neighbors and wanting to make sure that we didn't do things, on our property that would upset our neighbors, that would upset the balance of our neighborhood. This was a team that was committed to sort of, being a good neighbor. And Sugar House is not that far away from a couple of schools, which are near and dear to my heart, having come from the school district. And so when I heard Greg talk a lot about community, I knew I was in the right place. I'm like, this is the right team, this is the right place. We're going to do really good things here. So we do our due diligence in these efforts. We get out there, we get to know the community groups. We don't pretend to know what's best for you or your community, so we come out and talk to you and find out what you need. What are your needs? How can we support you? How can we give back? How can we become a part of this, community? And listen, we get our employees involved because we've figured out at all of these places that what's important for our employees and important for our community is important for us. Don't know. I have no idea where we are. All right. So I also, as you would have it, to be on a team. I was one of the first employees, so when you're number 4 in a team, you get to do everything. So I just also happen to be the diversity officer at Sugar House. And I'll tell you, our teams really do reflect the communities that we serve. In Philadelphia, my boss, our GM, is a woman, and so are 7 of our VPs, which I'll have you know makes our one male VP very uncomfortable, but he's adjusting. But at every level of the organization, diversity is very important to us. So from the front line all the way to the senior executive team, we want to make sure that our team is reflective of not only our customers, but of the community that we serve. All right. So at all of our properties, economic benefits extends beyond, wages that we pay to our employees and tax revenues that are generated to the communities. We also look at how to get the local vendors involved. I know in Philadelphia we work very, very closely with all of the chambers, both the main chamber and the minority chambers in Philly. We try to get a lot of those businesses into our pipelines and get them to understand we're highly regulated, so we try to get them to understand our business, what our needs are, and we work with those organizations to bid on our services, help them build capacity, get them to get bigger. For some of the smaller businesses, some of our projects or some of our bids were too big for them. You know, they didn't have the capacity to meet that need, and so we broke them out. You know, we said, okay, if you can only do, you know, $50,000, let's break up this bid into smaller chunks so that we can get more local vendor participation in the pipeline. And so, you know, our local vendors in all of these areas have benefited from this relationship. In Des Plaines, we spend $44.2 million with our partners. 23.7 in Pittsburgh and 14.5 in Philly, and those numbers only go down because the size of those casinos go down. Philly happens to be the smallest, whatever. We're getting bigger. As we looked at Schenectady, we were impressed by this city's sort of strength of community, and it's part of the reason why, you know, this team sort of picks the locations that they do. You know, we want to be part of a strong community, and we want to make strong connections within that community. We held our first announcement at Proctor's, and we were pleased to support the Fair Game Coalition in their efforts to protect and support local arts and cultural organizations. We are also partnering with the Schenectady County Community College to support its casino and gaming management program, and that's going to be a tremendous resource both for us and for the students and for the graduates to find jobs at our place. In addition to local vendors and business partners, we're also going to launch a rewards program so that our customers can benefit or can earn benefits that they can exchange at local businesses. So in Philly, I can tell you, it's called, we call it Rush Rewards Plus, and essentially what it is if you have one of our, you know, reward cards like you have in the casino, you can present that card at a ton of businesses in and around the casino. In the neighborhood, I mean, in the immediate community and surrounding, that, you know, you get, you know, some discount at the local hotel, or you can get a free sandwich or some other things. And we've worked with florists and hotels and restaurants and a bunch of other kinds of businesses in Philadelphia. So those are just a few of the ways that we'll work with community. Like I said, we don't pretend to know everything about you, but we want to get to know you and figure out how we can make this work for both of us. Thank you so much for listening to me drone on. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dave.
Lee, what passion. That's awesome. You did good. And if every employee is like you, this is going to be a winner. Although probably everybody won't win. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing this, right? It is a fantastic opportunity we have, and you can see why, with all the other casino partners that tried to approach us, that it was an easy decision picking Rush. I'd like to reiterate how proud we are at the Gillespie Group for working with such an outstanding group of people and with a great city. Our investment is going to continue. It's something special we have here. It's an opportunity we've been working on for years to build on the riverfront, the Rivers Casino and Resort at Mohawk Harbor. Simply put, and I'm very, very prejudiced, this is the best proposal in the capital region. And Schenectady can go toe-to-toe with anybody. I'm very confident of that. We can all work together very well. We need to work together. We need to complement the investments we've made in downtown. We want connectivity between Mohawk Harbor and State Street. We want to create jobs for our kids. That's what it's all about. We want to get these kids from Schenectady High to be able to go to the community college and come out with a trade and make that line in social services, the building we own in the new YMCA residential program, make that. Hopefully nobody's going to live there anymore if we can do things like that. We need to work together on that. This is a historic investment. $450 million in an upstate New York City. Think about it. In addition to the $100 million we've already done. And Schenectady's right for that commitment. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your patience in going through this with us. It's a major decision for Schenectady. It's a positive one. Forget about you. Think about your kids. Think about the next generations. Think about the ability to keep our kids here, to get them jobs. It's not all about a casino. It's about addressing a riverfront. It's creating an urban environment that we can create opportunities for people to have an entertainment center here. Proctor's wouldn't be on board with it. The community college wouldn't be on board with it. The chamber wouldn't be on board with it if they didn't think it was right for our community. So thank you very much for your attention, and I appreciate all the support.
At this time, I'd open it up to questions from the City Council. If anyone has one or more. Okay, Mr. Eric.
Well, thank you for coming to Schenectady and speaking with us. This is definitely a topic that attracts a lot of attention. There's a lot of people talking, and as a council member, I won't speak for everybody else, but I get a lot of phone calls and emails from all sorts of people with different opinions. So thank you for coming and speaking to us. A couple of questions. The first one I was going to ask, can you spell Schenectady? That's one rule that you have to be able to. Anybody got it? All right. Okay, so it's family talent. That's great. No, actually, more seriously, one of the questions that I wanted to ask in terms of one of the slides you had, the revenue from the different, the other rivers, Sugar House, the other one in Pittsburgh, Fallsview. You had the revenue. What would the projected revenue be for the Schenectady Casino? We're good.
I don't think that we've released our projections. They're still working on them. But I believe the state has put out projections, if I'm not mistaken, based on the $5.7 million tax estimate. What's the state's projection, Scott? I don't know. Is it? So, yeah. So I think the state's projections are that the tax revenue will be $5.7 million. I'm not sure how to back into the math on that, but we can do that for you and let you know it.
So you don't have any estimate in terms of where you think it would be? I mean, I know the state's estimate, but I'm just kind of general. You give me a broad range. I'm not looking to nail it down to the penny here, but
right. Well, I'd say we're probably in the $200 to $250 million range. Would be sort of a broad range.
Sure, that's great. Thank you.
Ms. Peraza.
Yes, I don't have a question, rather a statement, because earlier you did mention that the county is having time this evening for people to go and make comment. But I wanted to also remind everyone that next Monday is our time to receive comments, along with emails and phone calls leading up to next Monday, and that is a very important part. And so although you can't speak tonight, please do, if you want to be heard, come and speak next Monday.
Anyone else? Mr. Erickson? Go ahead.
I go all night with questions. Right? I'll try to. We got time. In terms of the other, I know there's going to be 275 hotel rooms that will be created on site in their area. Other hotels and restaurants also in Schenectady. Is there anything you can do, or will there be any programs? I know, like in Vegas, somebody told me that other restaurants actually get subsidized by casinos. Is that something that we would do here?
So one of the things that Lee mentioned was a rewards program in Philadelphia, whereby our people that come to the casino they earn points, and they can use those points to get discounts at local restaurants. We also in Philadelphia, we send people out to local restaurants and hotels in the area. Our team members patronize local restaurants because they all live in the area and work in the area. And so we do try to work closely with area businesses to promote Schenectady and the local community.
Thank you.
Carl, one of the things, and I'm on the board of proctors as well, we historically have to send people out to Wolf Road on a regular basis because there's not enough hotel rooms in our community. If you look at Albany, Schenectady, Saratoga, Troy, we are the least served hotel community in that region. GE, historically from GE R&D and the main facilities, send people to other parts, to Route 7, to other areas. So from that standpoint, adding another 275 rooms probably isn't going to be enough, but it's a good start. We've got the Hampton that runs in the 90s regularly. The new DoubleTree is actually taking rooms out of service. We've also reached out to the chamber members. We've reached out to other restaurants. They're all supportive of it. They think it's going to complement more people. You got to remember, take a look at those numbers and 2.8 million people coming through here. Combine that, walk around when you have Phantom walking out of Proctor's. It's pretty exciting, the amount of people that are going to be able to go there. And the restaurants that are going to be a casino are not ones that are going to be competing with downtown. I bet you they don't have an Italian restaurant there.
Anyone else? Ms. Porterfield.
Regarding the casinos, I mean, based on the years they've been open, I guess you're sort of new to the gaming business. The oldest one is only 10 years old, right?
The casino in Niagara Falls opened in 2004. That's correct.
That's the oldest. So in terms of the amount of revenue, has there been a decline or an increase in the amount of revenue since these casinos, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, the Plains, opened?
That's a good question. So generally, there's a actually, I'll just let you answer this, David. Generally, the first few years, you see an increase in revenue, and after that, it pretty much flattens out, and we've seen sort of a flattening of revenues at our properties. Maybe we had a small decline last year, but generally, it's first couple of years you see some growth and then a flat line.
A lot of it depends on what's happening with local competition. So. In Des Plaines, for example, we've had very good trajectory. We're actually up this year versus prior year, and we opened in the middle of 2011. So our first full year was 2012. Small drop off in 13, but we're up this year. In Philadelphia, we had very strong revenue growth the first 2 years, and then a new competitor opened, and so our revenues went down slightly because they were 20 miles from where we were. But the last couple of months, we've seen our revenue start to increase again. And then in Pittsburgh, we had very, very strong revenue growth until the Cleveland casino and some other casinos, which were within about 2 hours of our operation, opened up. So we were slightly up last year to, basically flat to slightly up. But we certainly haven't seen any, troubling trend where the revenues go up and then all of a sudden they start to fall off a cliff or anything like that. We've weathered the storms of both the economic recession and also competition far better than our competitors in each of the markets that we've operated.
I think that's an important point, is that if you look at our market share and us relative to our competitors, we've actually increased our market share and improved our business. So I think even though we are a young company, that we have competed very successfully against other gaming companies in the markets that we operate.
Any other questions? All right, if not, I want to say thank you very much for coming and making this wonderful presentation. We will move the committee meeting back down to room 110, and I'll remind everyone that these folks are going to be over at the county office building starting at 7, I believe doing another presentation and then entertaining public comment. So thank you all for coming.